Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 285. My name's Adam Patterson. We're joined today by Kevin Rakestraw. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing okay.
All right, good to hear. We've got two reviews lined up for you this week, both thrillers, both horror thrillers. We're talking about A Quiet Place, and we're going to be talking about The Endless. So, exciting weekend this week.
Sure.
Yeah. We'll also be going over some we're watching on the watch list and new releases in theaters on VOD and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm thinking that we can go ahead and just jump right into our first review since we have two of them this week. What do you think?
Yeah. What's the first one going to be?
I'm thinking A Quiet Place because
it's fresh.
Yeah,
it's right there.
So
Just got
yeah.
out.
With The Endless, I want to get into a little bit of a spoiler discussion on that one. And I think it'll just be easier time code wise to do the kind of the bigger one and then the smaller one and then have time in there for a spoiler talk on The Endless. I don't know if we need to do a spoiler talk on A Quiet Place. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll get into it. This is directed by John Krasinski. I have a synopsis here. A family is forced to live in silence while hiding from creatures that hunt by sound. Stars Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. Now, since you just got back from this, this is ultra fresh for you.
The credits might actually still be going in the theater as we speak.
All right, since you're
so fresh.
All right, so now this is one that last week you said it looks stupid. You were not into this one at all. Has your opinion changed? What'd you think of A Quiet Place?
It changed slightly. Well, yeah, it changed slightly. I thought it was all right. Nice little tight film. In and out. You have no idea how happy I was to find out that it was an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And, on my drive to the movie theater, I was just overcome with joy. And going by what I saw on the screen, that was perhaps the best decision they made, because what's contained in here, I don't even know if you have enough for an hour and a half film.
I thought it was just enough. I thought it was a really good length. Anything more, and it may have felt a little extraneous. Like, all right, well, maybe we don't need that. But I liked the runtime. I thought it was a good brisk pace.
I think I think it came in right at the right moment. Because if it would have went longer, because even some of the stuff felt a little bit stretching it a bit too thin, with bunch of people just sitting around and having heartache on their faces.
Oh, it's a tough world. You know, you're living in a world where you have to be 100% silent at all times.
But also, I mean, yeah, I guess you do have to be, but it doesn't explain a lot, because they did a lot of work on that compound that, I'm sorry, but you did not do that in silence. You didn't plant all that corn silently.
Wow.
You can't plant acres of corn in silence.
Maybe it was already there, because when it started, it was like, I mean, it was already a farm, so maybe it was already there.
Yeah, but you're talking like the third time it flashed up is like day 400.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Something or other. You need to harvest that at some point.
Yeah, you're dealing with multiple seasons there, so I don't know. Maybe they did it by hand.
Even you try grabbing a husk of corn and ripping it off a stalk without making any noise.
Yeah, but it probably doesn't. It probably doesn't make that much noise, and you're in a whole field of it. So I imagine that they go inside, so that the sound of the corn that's surrounding them sort of dampens the sound of them harvesting the inside corn.
I think a lot of the issues, your life could have been made a lot easier if you just moved next to the river.
It's funny. My wife said that exact same thing. Like, the way that they can get around doing things that make noise is by doing them around things that have a louder noise, like a river or a waterfall, stuff like that. They light off fireworks to drown out sounds, and that sort of messes with the monster's hearing. And there's one scene where they go to a waterfall and they're able to talk and scream and do whatever they want. And my wife was like, why don't they just move next to that waterfall and then they don't have to worry about anything? And I was like, well, it doesn't look like it's a very conducive living environment. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could set something up next to the river, but you'd have to build a shelter, and that probably would be making a lot of noise. And I don't know. I don't know how the logistics would work with moving there.
Well, we know that some of them made it to like 400 and some days. So
yeah, and some
it's not easy.
No,
it's not easy. It's a little tough.
I really liked the whole sound mechanic of it, where you had to be absolutely silent the whole time. I thought that obviously with a movie like that is very heavily focused on sound, you need to bring your A game when it comes to the sound department. And I thought that the way that they handled a lot of that was quite good in this movie. I mean, everything, lots of jump scares in this, things that, like, wouldn't normally make someone jump, but there are a lot of, like, any loud sound in this movie, you're just like, oh my God. Because by and large, this movie, the way they're set up. Yeah, the movie itself is very quiet. I mean, like, really quiet, which makes for an interesting theater going experience, because you just hear every bite of popcorn from everybody in that theater.
Yeah, there was the jump scares. I mean, and I knew it from the start. As soon as the movie started, a couple minutes in, it's just like, any noise is gonna make me jump, because it's like it lulls you with that.
Sure,
with
yeah.
that silence or the quietness, and you're just like, even like a mid-range sound is gonna make me jump.
Yeah. How many times did it get you?
Pretty much every time.
Pretty much every time. There were like
it wasn't, but they weren't scares. It was just like startling.
Yeah. There were like two or three that got me really, really good. I don't remember what they were specifically, but I thought for the most part the jump scares were earned. Some of them were a little cheap, but it's a horror movie. Especially, and not only that, it's a monster movie too. And I liked the creature design. I thought was really quite good. I liked the way that the monsters looked. I was a little concerned. Yeah. I was like, oh man, are they gonna like not show them? Like, is this gonna be a thing where you just see like bits and pieces of them? But no, they do show them. I mean, it's definitely a monster movie, and I thought that the design and the biology of the creatures was very well done.
Yeah, especially when they do the inner ear thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty great. And for, their like the design of their heads. I guess that's their heads.
Yeah, they have these like,
it has all these
like plates, like little
ligaments.
Yeah, they're like these like tectonic plates on their heads. Very, very interesting.
And I gotta say, the thing that was I think the most enjoyable, I think that creeped me out the most involving them, is when she was watching the cameras, mm-hmm. and they're all just like scurrying across the ground, in black and white, like the gray. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they were pretty creepy. And there were several scenes where they would like creep up and you wouldn't know that they'd be in the house or in the room, and you're just like, oh my God, there it is. Oh my God. And like the one that went into the water, and when she was in the water, you're just like, oh my God, where is it? Is it going to get her? Which leads me to the other sort of thing I want to talk about, was the suspense in this movie. Like, I thought that this movie was really, really tense. I mean, there were some really tense moments in this movie. The one scene that you see part of in the trailer, the scene where she's giving birth, That whole sequence, I mean, from beginning to end, I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time. And that there's a scene on some stairs, and they frequently cut back to this thing on the stairs, and I just was like, oh my god, they're gonna step. No, they're gonna get it too. Like, I just was so concerned for everyone in that family because I thought it was gonna happen multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, that's just bad. That's bad parenting. You should have taken care of that nail.
No, I think they had
something
bigger problems to deal with.
But no, see, it's just not thinking ahead. You know, if you want people to stay quiet, you need to shore up the nail in the stairs.
Yeah, you need to take care of that before it becomes a problem. Like, why was that nail there in the first place?
I don't know. You know, and just when it became apparent to you, you got to take care of it. That way, nothing can happen later on. You know, and I did like. There was a part of me that, you know, the first essentially two things that happen in order to how you're introduced to the monsters, to the creatures, was just like, man, your kids suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this just sucks. Like, you guys are doing so much and your kids just keep fucking up.
Well, especially the daughter. I mean, she was like an adolescent, so she was kind of a brat, you know. She was a little defiant. But I also liked the dynamic with the daughter, that she was deaf too. I thought that was an interesting element as well.
Especially the way in which they utilize the way they utilize it. I did for the most part, everything I thought worked pretty well. There's just one thing that just irritated me, like right off the bat. And I don't know if it just soured me off the bat. I just couldn't shake it. I couldn't let it go. Was his little room that he has with all of his radios and whatnot. And the fact that he has a little whiteboard.
Yeah.
With
like his research. His non-research research.
It's such a stupid thing to put in. Because it just makes him look so dumb. Like, that's all the info that you have. It is, but not only that, not only is that all the info that you have, but you felt the need to find yourself a whiteboard, prop it up on your table, find yourself a marker, and write that shit down. Like,
yeah, I feel like there should be some more research on there. But it was also used to make the daughter realize the whole what she had going on.
But how did that help her realize?
I don't know. You would think that she would have figured that out pretty quickly, but
it's just such a dumb thing to put in.
This was an example of, I thought that the trailers gave a little bit too much away. There were some of the big, like pretty much all of the big set pieces were at least in some part in the trailer, like the silo scene, which I thought was a really awesome scene as well. Part of that was in the trailer. And then of course the scene that you complained about last week, the rocket ship scene, which, man, that right away when they showed the him taking the ship from the kid, taking out the batteries, I was like, oh, Kevin's complaint just got shot to shit right there. But
still, you should have kept an eye on that kid. You fucked
of
up
course.
Again. You're not.
Of course. I mean,
okay, it is a difficult world.
I get it. There's a lot on your plate. You're thinking about a lot of things. You have one kid that's sick. You know, you have all of these things going on. You have your daughter who needs a little extra, care because she can't hear anything. So if one of these monsters is creeping up, she's not going to hear it. So you got to pay attention to her. And then you have your young son as well. But when you're out scavenging, you don't just be like, all right, let's go, and then just leave, and then leave your youngest son in the back by, you know what I mean? Like you keep them in the front where you can keep an eye on.
They're like a block down the street too.
Yeah,
While this kid's like going through the pros and cons of taking this spaceship, they're just like they're fucking gone. They're like he'll catch up later. Kid's like, what was he? He was like 4 years old
yeah,
or something. Plus, you probably could have used those batteries. Why are you passing up batteries? Pop them in your pocket.
exactly. Yeah, definitely use the
You need
batteries.
batteries. Unbelievable.
But you know, the way that all turned out was unexpected. I didn't see that coming. It was
I didn't think it was going to go that route.
pretty shocking way to start the movie off, because that was
Kick it off.
that was really at the beginning of the film, so really surprising.
But maybe the whiteboard kind of explains some of that then.
Maybe
That we're not working with the brightest guy here.
well, he's putting like
For everything that's on the
amplifiers.
surface.
He's like some kind of engineering genius. He's putting little mini amplifiers on hearing aids and stuff.
Yeah, I mean he has his areas of expertise, but he's not, he might not be all around intelligent here. That he needs a whiteboard to remind him that they attacked Sam.
Well, maybe the whiteboard was, maybe he created the whiteboard really early on when it happened, and people still weren't quite sure about what was going on. Although it still doesn't really make sense, because you see, like with the whiteboard, you have all the newspaper headlines and stuff that have the same information and maybe even more.
I mean, this guy's to the point where he's got a list of international radio stations, then he's got like 5 left on there to try out, and he still has up a whiteboard that says that they attacked sound. I'm sorry.
He's got better stuff to do. You don't ever just leave something laying around your house that you're just like, you know what, I'll deal with that later. I'll clean that up later.
I guess.
I'll put that away later.
But I also have this running thread that his wife is constantly asking for that whiteboard because she's in charge of, essentially homeschooling these children, and she could really use that whiteboard.
Of course.
But he's just stubborn, and he's like, no, I need it. It's my research.
I feel like you could also use it for things like inventory. You got to be stocking up on supplies, medicine and food and stuff like that. I think an inventory would be good for keeping track of your supplies, making sure that you're, rationing out your food in a proper manner.
Oh, definitely.
So I think the whiteboard would definitely be more it definitely has more beneficial uses than the reminding you of the base facts about these creatures.
What is the weakness?
It makes me wonder, Kevin, maybe that whiteboard was for us. Maybe that whiteboard was to let us know what's going on with these things.
What is its weakness? And then he boxed it too. He put it in a box. He wrote that shit in green too. But I also love, my other favorite thing about him as a character and a person is anytime something would happen, it was just super serious face on Krasinski. Just super serious. Like, holy shit. And he would just turn to his kids or his wife and just slowly put his finger to his mouth. Like, shh, don't say anything. Like, it's day 459. Like, they know. Like, it's almost insulting at that point. It has to be. He does that like 25 times through the course of the movie. In an hour and a half, he does it like 25 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would get to be like too much or what.
I would just, you gotta imagine at some point you're starting to get pissed off at that. That anytime something pops up, you got to deal with your husband turning to you with a super serious face and putting his finger over his mouth like, shh, be quiet now. Don't make a sound. They attack sound. You saw the whiteboard.
They didn't, because they weren't allowed to go in that area. That was like Dad's secret, that was like his man cave and they weren't allowed in.
No, he'll figure it out on his own. He doesn't need anybody's help. See how far he got with the whiteboard over the course of just under 500 days. He's figured out so much.
I like the way that it ended. I like the conclusion a lot. I thought that just the entire final act I thought was really well done. And I mean, nitpicks aside, the whiteboard is a silly nitpick that didn't bother me at all. But I really enjoyed the movie overall.
It's just I enjoyed it too. It's just one of those things. It's just you have a good movie here. You have a nice, tight film that works really, really well in what it sets out to do. It's fairly simplistic, but it does it really well. And for me, it's just like you can cut the whiteboard out. You don't need it.
I'm trying to pull away from the whiteboard, and we're coming back to it.
Oh,
at any rate, this one had a very good weekend. Another absolutely stellar weekend for a horror film. I think horror is definitely, it's coming back. It's coming back into the mainstream big time, and I couldn't be happier about that. Well, I saw a lot of people like bitching and moaning like that they didn't want to see this because it was PG-13 and all that stuff. Look, it doesn't matter that this is PG-13. Go see it. Don't let that sway you in any way. I think it's just as scary and thrilling and exciting as any other horror movie that's rated R. It doesn't need to be rated R to be a solid horror movie. So don't let that PG-13 rating sway you in any way. So, all right, let's give this thing a score. I will give A Quiet Place 7.5 out of 10.
Ooh, I'm gonna give it a like 7.5.
All right, there you go. This is playing in theaters right now. I would absolutely recommend going to see it in the theater. It's definitely a theater going experience for sure. I just don't think it'd be quite as effective unless you were, have a big TV with a really good sound system. I just don't think it'd be quite as effective on the small screen.
I have a feeling that it loses a lot.
Yeah.
In the home viewing experience, especially with my setup. I don't think it would really work.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's A Quiet Place. Let's move on and talk about our next review. This is for The Endless. If you're not familiar with this is Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead's latest film. These are the guys that did Resolution, which I was a huge fan of.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know you were too. And they also did Spring, which was another one that I was a really big fan of as well. And I think that you liked Spring a lot too, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Really?
I thought Spring was to me.
I thought you I'll have to go back and listen to that review. I thought you liked that one.
I could be wrong. I mean, if I am, let me know. But I feel as though I was mixed.
I think you liked it. Anyway. So this is their latest. This is playing in limited release right now. I have a synopsis here. Two brothers return to the cult they fled from years ago to discover that the group's beliefs may be more sane than they once thought. So before we get into this one, I want to say, if you have a chance to go see this, go see it completely cold. I would say even avoid trailers for this one. Like, the synopsis is good. That gives you just a baseline of what the starting blocks are for this. But I would actually avoid reviews on this one as well, especially ones that may get a little bit too deep into the plot. But I would really encourage people to go into this one completely cold as they can. Because for me, the thing that really worked...
Indeed, that's how I did it.
Yeah. And same here. I actually saw this last year at Tribeca, and I literally knew nothing about it other than I was a big fan of Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. I loved their last two movies, and I knew there was something about a cult and people going back to a cult. That's all I knew going into it. And I think that when you go in cold, you just get so much more out of it. And as a result, I loved The Endless. I thought it was just, man, it was so awesome. I rewatched it. I rewatched it this week for the review since it's been a year, and everything I said about it. I actually wrote a review back in when it premiered Tribeca, and everything I said about it then still stands. I thought this movie was absolutely fantastic. Kevin, what did you think of The Endless?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the whole going into it cold, not knowing anything, because I didn't really even know that it was about a cult. Maybe, but I must have forgotten it by the time I started it, which worked out really well. Because for me, what they do so well, in my eyes, is they're able to string you along and do this long play of like build up, but they're able to give you little morsels here and there that just tip you off a little bit, to just make you question things. So like, what the fuck is going on? In this movie especially, I thought they did a really fantastic job of it, because they really they set up an expectation and then they completely go in an opposite direction with it.
Yeah, and that's sort of what these guys do, right? When looking at their last two films, one of the reasons I like them so much is that their movies, they blend genres. You can't really put any of their movies in a box. They like to mix things up and sort of put a little bit of everything in them. And then they're always kind of keeping you on your toes as far as your expectations and what you think is going to happen. They like to throw lots of twists at you, and they do it so well.
They do. And even when this kind of perhaps to say, like, lays all the cards out on the table as you kind of figure out what's going on, what's happening, what they need to do, and all that, it's still surprisingly interesting in the sense of how they frame it, in that their lives outside, in society, sucks so much that this alternative, as insane as it sounds, doesn't actually look that bad.
Right. So to step back, and I can talk about the just sort of the base level things in the plot. So like the synopsis said, you have these two guys. They escaped a cult like a decade ago. So they got out of this cult. They thought that it was like a UFO death cult. They thought everybody was going to commit suicide. So they got out, and one day they're struggling. They're eating ramen every night. They're cleaning houses for, a little bit of money. They're struggling to pay the rent. And all of a sudden one day they get this package, and it contains a tape from one of the cult members. And it seems like they're about to kill themselves. They're about to ascend, I think they called it. So they decide, You know what? Let's just go there, check in on them. We'll just stay there for like a day, and then we'll come back. And they go there, and then sort of things happen. Some stuff goes down. And like you said, there is this interesting question of maybe they do want to stay there. Maybe this is a better situation than what they have at home right now. And it does sort of raise some interesting questions. But I also like that it's a movie that it doesn't hold your hand. Like you said, at one point it does sort of lay the cards out on the table. You know what's going on. There are a few big reveals that occur, but you're still left with questions. Like you're still wondering what's happening. And that's the same thing that they did with their previous two movies as well. And why I sort of want to get into a little bit of a spoiler discussion on this, because there's so many wild things that happen that you're just like, what the fuck? It's definitely a a mindfuck movie for sure.
Without a doubt. The only thing that I thought, the only area that I thought was a little bit lacking was the fact that Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead played the main brothers, and I gotta say they're not that great.
Well, yeah, I mean
at acting.
the thing is they're definitely directors. They're not. I don't think that they're mainly actors, but
it was just like, maybe not the best decision.
I don't know if there was a way around that though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not absolutely, it's not so bad that it to the point that it takes you completely out of it. And I did enjoy like how their bickering extended throughout the entire film, even when the shit gets real, they're still bickering like brothers.
Yeah, and again, that's something that I thought there was more of it in Spring than Resolution, but both of those movies also had a fair amount of comedy, and I like there were a lot of sort of comedic moments, especially in how the movie was edited, and they'd be like in the middle of arguments, and then they would just cut to the next scene and stuff, and I thought that added a lot to sort of to give the movie more levity.
And they do it in a really, for me, it's a really enjoyable way because it feels at home. The comedy feels at home in what's going on. Like a lot of the comedy is just born out of how they respond to what's happening in the film. It's nothing like we're forcing jokes in here or they're trying to give it this comedic edge. It just feels natural.
Right, yeah. All the conversations and all of the humor comes from a more organic place. Just like you said, their reactions to some of the sort of cult-like things and some of the weird occurrences that begin happening on this desert compound of theirs. It definitely lends itself to comedy, and I was glad to see it in there. Any other thoughts on it before we get into some spoilers?
No, you can't.
Yeah, you really can't. It's definitely a movie you can't talk about at length without divulging too many details. Let's go ahead and
just go see it.
Yeah, just go see it. Let's give it a score. I think my original score for this was a 9.
Wow,
yeah,
it's up there. It's up there.
Yeah,
I can see it though. I wouldn't argue with you.
What's your score?
I give it like an 8.5.
There you go. Go see The Endless. I know it's playing in limited release right now, so it may not be in your city. If it is, definitely go check it out in the theater. If not, just keep an eye out for it on VOD. I'm sure that it'll be available soon. I know that WellGo USA is the one putting it out, so they usually have a pretty quick turnaround to VOD, so definitely keep an eye out for it. Let's talk some spoilers on The Endless. I will mark the time codes in the show notes so you can skip ahead past this if you do not want to be spoiled by the movie. And I highly suggest, if you haven't seen it, to go ahead and just jump forward however long, because it gets crazy. So what happens, this, and the thing that I think the most shocking thing for me was the scene when they went to the house from Resolution. Like that was the big shocker for me. I was like, holy shit, this is taking place in the same world as Resolution. And they went to Mike and can't remember the other guy's name.
I know. What is his name? Chris.
Yeah.
Mike and Chris.
They went to the shitty house that they were in Resolution. And that was like the mind-blowing moment for me. How everything, so I mean, essentially this is a sequel. And it's everything that happened in Resolution all ties together with what happened in The Endless. And it made me think, like, as soon as I saw that for the first time, I'm like, oh my God. Like, it all makes sense. It all fits together. Why didn't I see it? You know, with like the photos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit, like this is amazing.
Yeah, and I think of the the reason I know that I didn't pick up on it is because it's been such a while since I've seen
Right.
Resolution.
Yeah.
Which when they show up at the house, I had kind of the same reaction. I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Oh my god!"
I mean,
And then my immediate thought was, "Shit! I wish I watched Resolution like
yeah.
yesterday or the day before."
Well, it's interesting because, I rewatched this weekend, and I rewatched Resolution before rewatching The Endless, and it is really interesting to see, like, these really do go together. Like, they go together. I mean, it had been so long since I've seen Resolution. There is a scene that they show in The Endless when Mike comes up on Justin and Aaron in Resolution, and then they have that conversation about the cult and stuff. Like when he just sort of stumbles upon them in the desert.
Real?
Yeah, like that. You see it. When they find the tape in the lake.
Yeah.
And they watch it. That's actually the scene from Resolution. And I completely forgot that scene was in there because it was such a small, seemingly insignificant scene in Resolution. And that's I mean, people that remember Resolution well will probably immediately know, like, that these are the same two characters,
Yeah.
But I had completely forgotten about that little throwaway scene.
Fucking love it.
Yeah, I know. It's absolutely crazy. So
they've been 10 years.
Yeah, so they've been stuck in that.
Maybe even more.
So what it turns out is that there's this being that's watching over this area, and he has created time loops, like little pockets of time loops that will periodically reset. Some of them, they're sort of like clusters, and some of them will reset very quickly, and some of them take a long time. Like the main one that we're in with the commune or the cult or whatever you want to call it, that takes like 10 years.
Yeah.
So that one's a long one, but then there's also ones that are very short. And
this is one that's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, there's one that's like,
which when he first comes upon that.
Yeah.
Because I still don't. What's in the big freight trailer?
I don't know.
Type.
I have no idea what that is.
See, there's even more.
And then there's like that one scene when he's walking down the trail and like the trees just get obliterated. Like, what was that?
I don't know. That's what I mean. There's so much going on. I still don't understand, like the old guy in that tent that his loop's like 2 seconds or whatever, where he just like shows up in a chair and then for some reason like he explodes. It's fucking odd.
Yeah, it is. It's weird.
And I don't know if it's him, if this being is, I don't know if that's to try and show you that I guess he's gaining power maybe, or figuring things out, because like the earliest is like a 2-second loop.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
And everything, it seems like he keeps building up and building up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's wild.
It is wild. So to reset. So from what the one guy says, because there's this other guy. Oh, and there's also a scene in The Endless when they go to a trailer. There was a picture that they get, and they both end up at this trailer. Nobody's at the trailer. That was actually the trailer from Resolution, where Mike goes and has a conversation with this guy who was there with a bunch of students, and the students went missing. So that was actually a tie-in too that I missed, that I completely missed until I rewatched them this weekend.
This is wild, because we ended up going into spoiler territory, right? For the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Me followed you in there unknowingly.
and you're being,
and now things are being spoiled for me.
Yeah, you'll definitely need to rewatch Resolution, because
it's like I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah, there are a lot more things that tie the two together. It's pretty crazy, actually. What I don't understand, so I'm not entirely sure, and I don't know if we have enough information, but so the way that the loop works is if you have to kill yourself before the loop resets, or else, according to that one guy, something really bad happens to you. But I'm not sure what that is, and furthermore, I'm not sure how he knows about it.
Is that what I guess happens to Mike and Chris?
Yeah, maybe.
Because they try and they end up getting destroyed. So I guess he comes down and kills you in some way. But even then, that's like that's the same as killing yourself. It's not that big of a deal.
But the other thing that confuses me is how when they found Mike and Chris, they knew about the loop. They knew what was going on, and they were trying to figure out ways to stop it. But why is it then that when the loop resets for them, it seems like they forget? You know what I mean? Like it's like the beginning of Resolution when he's pulling up and Chris is shooting the guns on the porch.
No. That's the very first time. And they've been looping for the last 10 years.
I know.
Because the hard drive thing that they watch, isn't that the end of Resolution? Where they like apologize to it when it comes down from the sky and they're like, sorry, blah, 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 and they get murdered or whatever.
Yeah. But I'm still not sure. I still don't quite understand how.
Because they had to be missing for. They've had to go through their loop a couple of times because Mike's wife even comes out to try and find them.
I'm assuming that they've been gone for as long as it's been since Resolution came out. So they've probably been gone for several years.
Resolution has them as him going around as a cult. So they got out 10 years ago.
So that was 10 years ago.
So Resolution was 10 years ago.
If not more.
So they've been stuck in that loop that entire time.
But I still don't understand how they seem to forget when it loops back. Do you know what I mean? Like the one guy, he remembers every time he kills himself and he comes back. He remembers like where he is. It doesn't completely like reset time. Groundhog. Oh, that's a bad example because they remember in Groundhog Day too. Like it doesn't reset for everyone else in Groundhog Day, where they have no recollection that they're stuck in a time loop. Like Mike and Chris, they knew that they were in a time loop. They remembered how many times, they walked up and said, "Hey, Mike," and all that stuff. But it's like, does it take time for them to figure out that this is all?
It probably does. Yeah.
And then that other guy, maybe it's just that he's been looping for so long that he just knows now.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of interesting questions. I really hope that they make another one because I feel like this is just perfect for a trilogy. They just need to wrap it all up and just give us a little bit more out of this.
Like I said to you, you have, was it Mike's wife at one point towards the end, she's like riding her bike out.
Yeah.
So my thought is she either gets out too, which I gotta imagine if she's riding her bike away from there and the sky starts essentially being fire and everything's exploding, you would keep riding your bike away from there.
She didn't really want to be there in the first place, I don't think.
Yeah. She didn't really like it. So I imagine that she gets out.
And then plus at the end, the very end, when they came back after they ascended, she wasn't anywhere to be seen. So I think it's safe to say that she probably got out.
Yeah. And they're going to end up meeting each other. And they're going to be like, hey, yeah, we know where Mike is. We can help you out. Maybe. They still got to figure it out.
Yeah, they got to figure out how to get them out of it. Because apparently once you loop once, you're stuck. Like you can't get out at that point.
Now, would you loop? Or would you stick to the cleaning houses?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, they got a good thing going.
Because their lives did look like shit.
Yeah, they did,
I mean,
absolutely. But
the camp didn't look that bad.
yeah, they got a good thing
They
going.
had like
Good.
they had great
Yeah,
food.
good food. They got craft beer, all the craft beer you can drink. You stay young forever.
And it's not like you're reliving the same thing. You just reset, and then you can kind of do your own thing.
Also,
it's not like you're stuck in this
right.
loop.
And also, you can't leave the camp, but you do have connections to the outside world. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't be that you'd be completely cut off from the world. So I don't know, man. I might go for it. I'd be a little nervous about whatever the creature is that's pulling the strings. That might make me be like, I don't know about this.
but I mean, they're coming up on resetting the loop, so it's been 10 years. It doesn't really seem like anything terrible has happened to anyone.
No, but it all seems like an experiment. So who knows when this thing could just be like, I'm done with this, and then just obliterates them all. I mean,
but see, that makes it even kind of better because you're like, at least, because to me, really the only downside is the immortality, because that sounds awful. But if he could at some point in time grow tired and just destroy it, then
yeah, I mean, if I did it for like 100,
takes care of that.
I mean, if I did it for like 100 years or something, but knowing my luck, I'd be like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to loop, and then the very first loop,
weekend,
the guy would be like, or the creature would be like, I'm done with you guys, and then like explode all of us into oblivion.
That'd be great to know too, though, that the creature stopped it because of you joining the loop.
It just didn't
you joined the loop, and he was just, I hate this guy so fucking much. He's so awful. Like, I'm done with this. I'm sorry. Shutting it down.
There's also, if you want to know another little Easter egg that ties the two together, do you want to know another one? Or do you want to see the movie or rewatch?
No, hit me.
The one girl that's the artist who's doing the paintings and stuff. She talks about that she was staying at this mental health facility that was nearby, and she would go out and wander. There's one scene in Resolution that feels very random and creepy where Mike wakes up and there's just this strange girl standing at their window tapping on the glass, and she just looks real creepy and weird. And I think that that's the same girl from The Endless, because she says that she used to go out and wander, and she used to go to this drugged out, gun nuts place.
Yeah.
So that's another little tie-in there. But yes, guys, please give us another one. You can do another movie in between, like you did with Spring. Like that's totally cool. I want more from you guys.
It's actually a good idea to do that, because like with the whole Resolution and Endless thing, I didn't pick up on any of this really until they literally they're like, hey, this is Resolution. Yeah. Remember? It's like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then I did kind of like walk it back a little bit. Like, okay, with the method tweet, all right, I gotcha.
Exactly. So, and I also love, fans of Lovecraftian horror will definitely find a lot to appreciate here, because I think that pretty much all three of their movies have drawn a lot of influence from Lovecraft. I mean, in The Endless, you have a quote from Lovecraft at the beginning, and you definitely there's definitely strong Lovecraftian vibes with their movies. Spring as well had that, but man, go see The Endless.
It's so good.
Yeah, I mean, it's like right now it's got to be one of my favorite. It probably will remain one of my favorite movies of 2018 for sure, because it's just so excellent. So, and like each of their movies seems to be a little bit more refined than the last two. I'm a little worried that once they get to a certain level, the studios are going to grab them up and have them direct like a Marvel movie or something. And
do Doctor Strange number 9.
Yeah, so I was going to say Doctor Strange 2, but I think what's his name's going to stay with that. Derek, the guy that did Sinister. All right. Any final spoilers before we move on?
No.
All right. We are out of a spoiler zone now, so welcome back for those that skipped ahead. Let's move on and talk about someone watching on the watch list. Kevin, I think we'll start with you this week.
I'm only gonna do one because we kind of ran along with the double feature, and also it helps that I only watched one other movie, and that's The Shape of Water.
Uh-oh.
I watched The Shape of Water. I guess to get on run times as they usually do. Not sure why this movie is over 2 hours long. It's such a weird experience because we watched this and I think we're about hour in, a little after an hour or so. Take a smoke break, go out in the garage, smoke a cigarette. And I'm thinking, I know we've been watching this movie for an hour, but nothing's happened. Like, we've just been introduced to, everyone calls him Fish Man, but my subtitles are telling me that he's an amphibian man. So I don't know what the hell's wrong with people. But he does kind of seem like a fish, doesn't he? Like, I thought he had scales and stuff.
Yeah.
But either way,
He's a
it
creature.
was kind of fun.
Some kind of creature. Humanoid creature.
It's kind of fun because the subtitles are just constantly amphibian man chittering just over and over again. But like an hour into it, nothing's happened. I've just been introduced to the amphibian man. That's about it. Like there's not that much going on in this movie. Like, introduce the amphibian man. They spend some time together. Amphibian man gets out. They fall in love. Amphibian man gets away. That's it.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I was not really big on the narrative of this story. Like, it felt it's pretty basic, really, when you
and I mean,
look at it.
Not majority, almost all of it is just surface level where you're just like, okay, she's different. Richard Jenkins is different. So they kind of have this commonality with them, and that's why they kind of falls into love with him, and he kind of forms this friendship with him, whatever. And like, that's it. And then you have like the Russian thing with Bob, but that seems like nothing really. It's just, I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, I thought that aside from the visuals and the music and the performances, there wasn't a lot going on with the plot of this one. I was a little disappointed with it. I certainly didn't love it as much as most other people did.
Yeah, and there's just some odd choices, like the fact that it's Baltimore, but the entire film just has this really, to me anyways, it just felt really French. Like it was trying to be a French film, like the music.
Yeah, I mean it
and everything to it.
Yeah, it absolutely had like a Jean-Pierre Jeunet vibe to it.
Yeah,
really strong.
Like it doesn't feel like you're in Baltimore, but they keep saying that it's Baltimore, where it's just like you could have just made it a no-name place. Like you didn't have to say where you're at. And then to have some of like the civil rights stuff, which just kind of felt, like when she turns the TV and it's footage of the civil rights movement, and he's like, "Oh, turn it off. I don't want to see that." It's just like, why is that in there? And then with the diner, yeah, I don't know. It felt like I watched a 15-minute long movie, but it took over 2 hours to do it. It's just, I don't know. But I did, because going into it, the main thing that I remember is like Adam said something about Michael Shannon's wound that he has that plays throughout the entire movie. And I did enjoy that.
Yeah, the fact that it's a constant struggle for him in that wound.
I just love when they're sitting in the car and the guy's like, what is that smell? I think it's your fingers.
Yes, that was maybe my favorite part of that movie.
I didn't like it. But there is within like the first 5 minutes, I was just like, I can see why the Academy fucking loved this thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is, I mean, this is what they live for.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page with that one. That's
I don't know why she fucked it though. Seemed like that was
well, that was one of the issues I had, was that I felt like the relationship between the two of those didn't really feel earned. Like there wasn't, it just felt weird. Like there wasn't that much of a courtship process. I just wasn't buying that they were in love.
No, he just gave him some. I don't even think it. Honestly, I think she took advantage of him because I don't think he knew what he was getting into.
Maybe not.
I don't think he knows what's going on.
Maybe not.
He's grown to trust her, and then she took advantage of that trust.
Took advantage of his body, his fishman body.
And I just love that she's like, they go to work, and Octavia Spencer's like, "Why are you smiling?" And she like explains it, and Octavia Spencer's just like, "Oh, gee." It's just like, I don't think that would be the reaction that you would have in that situation.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. That's The Shape of Water. Is that out now, like on VOD?
It's on DVD.
Pick it up on DVD or Blu-ray. Since you only did one, I only did one. There was really only one that's that I saw this week that was really worth talking about, other than the two that we discussed. And that's You Were Never Really Here. This is the...
Oh, you son of a bitch.
So this is the Lynn Ramsey one with Joaquin Phoenix. Plays out like... I would compare it to Taxi Driver or Drive. Sort of like that. Maybe even Taken a little bit. Although it's definitely an art house version of Taken, and maybe even more of an art house title than Taxi Driver was. It's very, very contemplative. Joaquin Phoenix is brooding for a lot of the film, and he has these like crazy flashbacks because he's a veteran who suffered PTSD, and he's had several traumatic life events that brought him to his current vocation, which is he gets paid to recover kidnapped children. And so in the film, he's hired by a senator to recover his daughter who was kidnapped, and the kidnappers texted him an address for some reason, and he has to go get the daughter, and he does, and there's little resistance with that, but then things get complicated after he recovers the daughter. And it's interesting. It's a violent film, but much of the violence doesn't happen on screen. You see a lot of the aftermath. Joaquin Phoenix's weapon of choice is a ball-peen hammer, so lots of dudes getting hammered in the face and in the head. He kills a lot of people, and
with a hammer.
With a hammer, yeah. There's a lot of hammer smashing in it.
Wow. All right.
I enjoyed the film. I didn't love it, but it is, we talked about it before. Sometimes I get frustrated when people don't talk, and while Joaquin Phoenix talks more than like Ryan Gosling did in Drive, he's still a pretty stoic dude in this, and I find myself yelling at the screen, like, maybe if you talked a little bit more, you'd be able to work through some of these issues that you're having, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. Overall, really good story. Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out You Were Never Really Here, because it's pretty good. For you, and I don't know. I don't know how you would feel about it. I don't know if you'd like it, honestly. But
I can say this: just give me a heads up when it comes out on DVD, because it's not coming. It's never coming here. I can feel it. I know it deep in my bones that we're not getting it.
Yeah. Well, I know you were a big fan of Ratcatcher, and did you like We Need to Talk About Kevin?
I did like We Need to Talk About Kevin. Also liked Maverne Kalar. which I think was their second. That was their second film.
Yeah, so I mean, with those, if you've seen those films, you have an idea of what to expect here. There's a lot of kind of like almost trippy, surreal moments where the character is really struggling with their sort of mental acuity. So you have a lot of kind of moments like that throughout the movie. Although, one other thing that I will mention, the score is fucking awesome. I think it was Johnny Greenwood did the score.
Oh yeah,
and it was
I forgot he did that.
Really good score in this. So the one song, I think it's like the main theme. It almost sounds like the beginning of Highway to the Danger Zone.
Oh yeah,
which is and it tripped me out a little bit the first couple times it played, but yeah, You Were Never Really Here. That's playing in limited release right now as well. So check that out. All right, let's talk about what's coming up in theaters this week. So Isle of Dogs is going wide, so that'll be in theaters nationwide this weekend. We have Beirut. This is like a
I hate this new thing of taking these historical and making them film things like Beirut. What was the other one? Was it like 3 days in Antibes or something like that?
Yeah.
It was about the hostage situation. They need to stop this shit.
Yeah, 3 days in Beirut looks. 3 days in Beirut. I just mixed them up.
Merge the two.
Just a mashup.
Merge the two.
Doesn't look very good. This is with John Hamm. We also have Rampage. This looks absolutely terrible.
It sure does.
And I know from a trusted source that it is terrible. So we got Borg versus McEnroe. This is the tennis biopic with Shia LaBeouf.
No, thank you.
Nah, not interested in that. We got Truth or Dare.
This movie looks so bad.
I'm actually somewhat interested in this one. I'll probably. I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but I'll definitely keep a lookout for it.
It looks really, really bad, but at the same time, it seems like this could be a really good gather your friends up and watch it.
I like the.
It seems like you could have fun with this.
Yeah, like I like it when they get infected or whatever, and they get that creepy smile on their face. You know, like the Aphex Twin style smile. I like that. Let's see what else we have. The Rider. This is one that garnered a lot of praise last year. It was nominated for some Independent Spirit Awards, including Best Picture, I believe. We got Marrowbone. Marrowbone is this is a gothic horror film. I feel like there's been a lot of these gothic horror films coming out recently. They've all been a little meh, and Marrowbone is no exception. I actually saw Marrowbone, and it was not great. It wasn't horrible, but I'd call it average.
No, that's the problem with those gothic horror.
Yeah, like they're rarely bad. Like they don't
even have the decency to be bad.
Oftentimes, oftentimes they're visually pleasing. You know, like Marrowbone it looks really good visually, but plot wise, there's just not a lot there.
It just seems like it's a really boring time.
It somewhat is. Now we also have Wildling. This is it's a horror movie. I'm not entirely sure what this one is about. I think it's about like a woman who was kept in captivity for a time or something.
Like I said, she's like a wildling.
Yeah.
Wildling.
Let's see what else we have here. Zama.
Hell yeah.
We have 10 by 10. It looks like some sort of containment thriller with Luke Evans. Aardvark is coming out.
Okay.
This is a movie that I saw last year at Tribeca. Wasn't even aware it was coming out until I just now looked at the list here. It's with Jenny Slate and John Hamm and Zachary Quinto. Not great.
I hope that they're trying to ride on the coattails of Beirut. Really hoping people could be in the movie. John.
Not so sure about that.
Yeah, I don't think it's a move that's gonna work out for him.
No. That's pretty much it for theaters. Let's talk about what's coming out on VOD this week. We got Mabel Tiger Trainer.
Okay.
I think that's a documentary. We got these are for Tuesday the 10th. We got House on Elm Lake, and we got Ellis. We also have Us and Them on the 10th. And then on the 13th, we have Wildling. We got An Ordinary Man. We got Party Bus to Hell. I think that stars Tara Reid, by the way.
Okay.
And that's what we got on VOD for this week. Looking at Blu-ray for April 10th, we're looking at Deep Red. Arrow's putting out Deep Red. If you haven't seen Deep Red, it is one of my all-time favorite Giallo films. It's an Argento film that, oh boy, do I love that movie. I have a Deep Red poster that I have framed. I have a Deep Red t-shirt.
I want that, what you just did, I want that to become your catchphrase. If we can create catchphrases, 4 or 5 years into this, I just want it to be you going, oh boy, do I like this movie.
Oh man, there's got to be something better.
It's so wholesome. There was so much excitement in your voice.
The funny thing is it's talking about Deep Red, which is a very not wholesome movie. Oh my. Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke from 1978 is getting a looks like a 4K release on that. We got Molly's Game. That's the one with Jessica Chastain. That's the Aaron Sorkin one. We got The Greatest Showman. We've got Full Moon High from 1981 getting a Blu-ray release. Proud Mary's coming out. Skip that one.
Yeah.
Not very good, unfortunately. Mohawk. This is one that I would recommend checking out. I don't know if you got to buy it on Blu-ray, but definitely give it a rental at least, because it's a pretty badass revenge tale about this young Mohawk woman who fucks up a whole bunch of U.S. military guys.
Oh, okay.
My Friend Dahmer's coming out. That's another one I would definitely recommend, about the childhood. Tells the true story of Jeffrey Dahmer's childhood, based on
clear some things up.
Yeah, when you see it, you're just like, okay, I see. Disembodied from 1998 is getting a Blu-ray release.
Right.
Never saw that movie. It looks somewhat interesting. It looks pretty bad. I think it was straight to VHS movie that was shot on 16 millimeter.
Oh my!
So
goodness.
might give that one a look.
Wow.
Bomb City from last year is coming out on Blu-ray. This is one I saw. I didn't talk about it on the show, but it tells the true story of these like punk rock kids who end up clashing with these like football players, and it ends up causing the death of one of the punk kids. One of the football players kills him, and it's sort of a really sad story.
Sure. All right.
That's pretty much all I got. Is there anything coming out on Criterion this week?
This week is a Eclipse series box set number 46. This is going to be Ingrid Bergman's Swedish Years. So the actress before she made her way to America. These are, I think it's a total of 6 films that she made from 1935 to 1940 in Sweden.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I thought that came out like a long time ago. I guess they just advertised it.
Yeah, I thought it did too, actually.
Well, there you go. I forgot to mention Phantom Thread is also coming out. So You want to see
on the DVDs?
Yeah.
Getting that on the DVDs.
Want to see Phantom Thread? Maybe check that out. And I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to feedback@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page. Patreon.com/FilmPulse is the address. And consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.